All right, so welcome to another episode of On Foodable Weekly. We are here in Washington, D.C. with Phil Kafarakis. Hey, thanks for letting us come up to your fine, nice digs here.
Yeah.
We're in the kitchen area. This is all new for you guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have you here, Paul.
Thank you.
We love guests here. The building is, we've been in it for about 1.5 years now, and this space that you're in is an opportunity for us to showcase hospitality in the nation's capital.
Right.
We've been able to build out the space. Dawn, in her infinite wisdom, wanted a place where everybody can come forward and enjoy a meal or just get together over some food and drink. This is an opportunity for local chefs and celebrity to come forward and give us some information on what they're working on. It's an opportunity for the ProStart kids to be here when we host the board. So we use the space for a lot of different things.
Phil, your role here at the National Restaurant Association, for our viewers, a little bit deeper on what your position is.
Yeah, sure. Dawn, again, in the way she thinks, she has brought me forth to basically have the leadership of bringing together the businesses, the solutions that we are all about here at the NRA. A lot of people know us for the advocacy, the legislative agenda, but there's a big side of us as it relates to solutions. So when advocacy and legislation are bringing forward concerns, they might be putting some pressure on the operator community, we've got an opportunity to help them through that. So with our training and certification business and the work we do with the ServSafe brand, what we do in the exhibition business with not only the show in May, but also a new show that we've acquired in New England. We have an insurance business that we started last year. We have a financial services business that we're into. So the business components, the solutions components of what we do, along with the marketing and the international outreach, are all parts of my responsibility. So think of me as the business guy that helps fund the mission and work closely with our philanthropy and our advocacy to make sure we're aligned on the priorities of the industry.
But what are some of the short-term movements in strategy and education and things that operators can really take advantage of for the NRA today?
Yeah, I think because we do so much and we cover such a very large industry, our focus has been on really becoming much more focused on major issues that are going to drive the legislative agenda that also then impact how the restaurant business operates. So we've just come off a very intense strategic plan for the next 5 years. It's built off of a mission that really is built around advancing and protecting the food service industry. So in that respect, we have 3 pillars: building industry image, building industry influence, and building industry engagement. So those 3 pillars guide our work. We then work in 4 areas of interest: entrepreneurship, food and healthy living, jobs and careers, and sustainability. So if you thought of us as a business enterprise, those would be the 4 product categories we do our work in. And we take that information, and the work that the government affairs team does provides us with phenomenal content with regards to legislative and a legislative agenda that'll continue to robustly impact how operators work. From that, then we try to partner with folks in those areas that can give us solutions. Great example of that is the Affordable Care Act and how we were able to monitor that for years, be the voice of the industry. When it became law, we had already partnered with United Healthcare. We had provided an insurance exchange. 3 years into it, we're now in the insurance exchange business, providing operators a solution that they probably could not have gotten independently. So right now our work is heavily devoted to a lot of the disruptive technology in the space. And we're trying to put that theme into everything we do.
Interesting. So the Restaurant Innovation Summit in San Diego later this fall, will that kind of forward that whole process of really kind of bringing all these different moving parts together at an event like that? Yeah,
exactly. So what we're trying to do is be very specific with respect to these topics. So in the back half of the year, we feature the Restaurant Innovation Summit. There'll be work that's going on there for about a day and a half in conjunction with our executive study groups. But we've got folks that'll come in and talk to us about the emerging technology that's taking place. Everything from what's taking place with beacon technology, drones and their impact on the supply chain. We've got two great futurists. One will speak about the future of food and where you think food would be coming from, a little further out, that gets everybody's mind around what the possibilities are.
And it seems like you're putting together these little outposts or big outposts across the entire year so that it ties the event, being the show, along with other things that are happening throughout the organization to become really a year-round learning and education process for the NRA and its members. Yeah. Is that pretty much the case?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, we've had a long history of providing a lot of information all the time across multitude of topics. As much as we're a subject matter expert across many, many topics, it's important to categorize them and focus in on them as they start to impact the restaurant business itself.
So if you look at kind of the state of our industry as a whole right now, are there any specific areas that you feel the NRA is really positioned well to kind of lead the charge in, just like the ACA with what you've done with United Healthcare? Any areas around labor, the coming and looming minimum wage issue, issues with menu labeling? I know you guys have a handle on all this kind of things. What are some of the things that operators can kind of look forward to as these things start to really come to the forefront?
Sure. I think our focus and energy is always starts on the legislative side with respect to things that might happen locally, and then they turn into state issues, and then the next thing you know, you've got an agenda across the country. Great example of that is what's going on with nutrition and food labeling.
Right.
A couple of years back, you might have heard what had happened in New York with sugar and the regulatory environment, and you can get a big gulp at a convenience store, but you couldn't get a large-sized drink in a restaurant next door. So those types of things. So as they bubble up and they become issues, we then start to make sure that we're in the very early front of how that impacts the operator community. So our approach is more about fact-based information, a lot of good research, educating the legislative community on what the facts are. So as we do that, then we bring that forward and engage with our members so they have a stake in that. Food and food ingredients and food labeling and menu optimization and what goes on with respect to communicating nutrition to consumers is a very big part of what's coming down the pike. It's something that probably will not end. There was even more legislation recently about salt. So there's constantly something going on. So I think you'll see us in that space, constantly protecting the interests of the industry. The wage issue and what goes on with workforce development as it relates to quality jobs and the many jobs that this industry continues to produce will be another pillar of how we bring forward solutions to bring more talent into the industry and actually promote them within a great space.
All right, Phil, so thanks so much for letting us pick your brain today. It's always fun to kind of hear all the vision of what you guys have going here. It's going to be fun to watch you guys really take this to the next level.
Thanks very much for you being here today.
Absolutely.
It was great having you.
We appreciate it. Signing off here from another episode of On Foodable Weekly right here in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time.